over here, we're talking club fitting. Who's been club fit in this group? Nobody. Only one. Who's bought the golf clubs in this group? Okay. You need to be club fit no matter what you buy, all right? I've always said, whether you're spending $200 or $2,000, spend it wisely, okay? Club fitting is very important to find the right tool to fit you. There's many, many tools that's going to fit everybody in this group, okay? We here at Woodwind have a little bit of an advantage, some technology when we fit. This gray box that you're looking at here is called TrackMan. It's Doppler radar. It helps us make better decisions, is all it does. Mark, myself, and Brad, years of experience of fitting, so we see this every day, but we still need numbers to understand what's going on. For example, a driver. When we strike a driver, we're going to get some variables, okay? What would they be? What's important when we hit a driver? Spin, exactly. Do we want a lot or a little? Now, I see some gray hair in this group, okay? I'm one of them. When we grew up, all right, Doc, yes. When we grew up, when we hit a driver, what did we want to see the driver do? Take off, low,
and go high.
Low and rise. Yep. That was the best drive. That was awesome to see that. I remember growing up as a kid and watching the guys. Today, it's the opposite. We want to launch a driver high. High being, anybody take a guess. How many degrees do we want to launch a golf ball into the air?
13.
13, awesome. 13 degrees. So the window, 11, 12, 13, and 14, we want to get launch angles. What would control something like that on a golf club? Loft and shaft. And one other variable. This represents a golf swing. It's a circle, it's a hula hoop. Okay? At the bottom of the hula hoop, there's some gray tape. Gray tape represents when the swing changes from down to up. Everybody has it in their golf swing. There's one golf club in your bag that you can hit up on it, and it is the driver, okay? Because everything else we hit, we strike down on. At least we should, okay? Now, we don't always hit up on our drivers. Everybody, again, is different. So when we go through fitting processes, part of our evaluation is how does the golfer strike the golf ball? Because loft and shaft can differ whether you hit down on the driver or up on the driver. The tour average, PGA Tour, down 1.5. Those guys hit it so far, they're so strong, and where they land and how they land, it's more important than hitting it far. They already hit it far. LPGA, which is more like us. And if everybody could strike it like the LPGA, it'd be great. We'd have a lot of fun on the weekends. LPGA, up 3 degrees. They are maximizing and they're being very efficient on how they can strike it, launch it, control the spin, and hit it farther because they need distance. Okay? So when we start looking at readings, somebody strikes a driver, we look at launch angle, we look at spin rates, how fast you swing it, and how fast the golf ball comes off. Because we want to be very, very efficient. Everybody can find a tool that it can come off at what we call a smash factor of 150. So the ball's coming off a 1.5 times faster than it's hit. That's the USGA limit. All drivers are there. Whether you buy TaylorMade, Callaway, Ping, Titleist, everybody's figured out today how to get it there. Okay? So now, once we know speed comes off, we can hit it in the center of the face, then we go back to our variables and start working through the tools. Shaft length, shaft type, shaft weight, shaft flex, low kick point, medium, high kick points, loft, and all those variables in between for all the math guys here. It's a lot, isn't it? But that's the process we go through. That's why we have so many tools so that we can go out and start narrowing down those variables for you. So when you hit a drive into the wind, it's piercing, it's not spinning, so it doesn't go up and fall down at 190 yards. And downwind stays in the air and tumbles as it hits the turf. Okay? Mark, difference in the irons.
I think the thing we do different than anybody else, you've all heard of lie angle. As you attach to the golf club, it relates to the ground differently based on who we are, how long our arms are, how tall we are. The manufacturers, they do it easy because they use one golf club, and they think that the 3-iron and the 4-iron and the 5-iron and the 7 and the 8 and the 9, the wedge, they're all going to match. Well, a lot of you guys, we could probably measure you. You might be the same height, the same build, the same arm length, and one of you does that with his short irons and that with his long irons. And one of you might do the opposite, that with his short irons and that with his long irons. So the importance with the iron is that the face of the golf club, as the club itself doesn't relate to the ground properly, you guys can see this, as it's too upright, the face points to the left. That would be like you guys hitting off the side hill and not figuring out why it's going left all the time. I think it's you. So the face is pointing over. You're probably pointing at the hole, but the face of the golf club is pointing that way. If it's this way, it's pointing in the opposite direction. If you're a slicer like 80% of the guys that play golf and your golf clubs do that, you got no chance. And if you don't recognize that, and you don't recognize that there are 6 or 7 or 8 irons in your bag, not just one, then you're going to have problems with some of your golf clubs. Every one of you probably has one favorite iron in your bag, and then another iron that might be right next to it. You kind of wonder, why can't I hit that one? I talked to Pete Dye one time, and he said, Mark, if you could fix my 6-iron, I said, I put it on the loft and light gauge, it was an 8-iron. I wonder why he didn't make it work. He said, I've been working on that thing for 2 years, and all I did was bend it, and he said, you're a genius. I said, oh, I didn't do anything. So what we do different here is we measure long iron, mid iron, short iron, and wedges, not just one golf club. So we want to see how you guys hang on to with the long iron all the way down. And when you get to the wedges, you guys probably don't know how much the golf club bends this way at the hit. And when you hit a wedge, it's doing the same thing as your irons are, but when you hit a half wedge, you know, a lot of you aren't going to hit a half 7-iron, but the half wedge is a pretty important golf shot. Well, the shaft doesn't do this. It stays straight. So if you guys can see, if the toe's going down in a full shot, but it's not in a half shot, the toe's up off the ground. The club's pointed that way, and it's also probably going to get snagged. So it's really important that you guys give yourselves a chance with your wedges by just setting them up properly. It takes about an hour, and it's a very detailed process, but it's the best thing that you guys could do for your irons. It's truly the best thing you could do for your irons. Tour players, you guys all say, when I get better, I'll do that. Well, you'll never get better if you don't do that. Because at 70 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour, there's no way your hands can control the face of the golf club like Brad was talking about with the putter. How do you do that every time when your hands are going that fast? If your hands just have to do the same thing and the club's doing all the work, it's a lot easier. And the tour player knows that. He could probably play with any of your golf clubs and go play pretty well, but he wouldn't want to, because he spends hours on his golf clubs making sure that they do what he wants them to, so he just does his thing. He's, unlike you guys, he's good enough to change his golf swing and know what he's doing. You guys, a lot of times, don't even have a good concept of what your golf swing does. And if your clubs aren't working, what chance do you have? So it's pretty easy. And I think that's the basics of what we do different with the irons here. And I don't know that anybody in the whole area that does it like that. I think it's pretty special.
Yeah, that's, you know, what do we offer here? Wedge fitting, iron fitting, driver fitting, or for those who really need it, which are probably most, the full bag fit. And the full bag fit involves, it's 3 to 4 hours. It's at least 2 sessions, if not 3 sessions, of coming to see us, spending some time with us so we can go through the bags. It's not just about picking the right golf club, but once we know the irons, then we do something we call gap fitting. So we know the 5-iron goes 175, the 4-iron's supposed to go 190, or we can't hit a 4-iron very well because we don't get it launched in the air. So then we go in and do some gap fitting. Maybe it's a hybrid, maybe it's a 5-wood, maybe it's a 7-wood, or maybe it is the 4-iron, or a different type of 4-iron. And really trying to figure out ball flight and gap fitting so that when you go play the golf course, it makes sense to you. So when you look at the sprinkler head, you know what tool to pull out of your bag. All right, we had a volunteer today. He doesn't even know it, all right? Is it Milligan? Mr. Milligan here is going to give us a little bit of a taste of a mock driver fit. Okay?
You can do it.
You hit it. They said you hit it in the center of the face every time, so it's perfect for you. All right.
All right.
What do you like? Where are we going to start? You just give me a loft and a shaft, just basic.
9.5 stiff.
9.5 stiff. All right. So we'll grab a 9.5 stiff for him. You're fine.
That's the problem.
All right, as I'm putting this together, this has changed a little bit over the years. I'm currently putting together a Titleist, so I have a different head model. I have a variety of shafts, and I also have adjustability here that I can change lie angles and face angles. Okay? So if we can't figure this out for you,
Move the other end of the
we've got problems, or we've got a swing issue, and we've got to go see the doctor then.
And the fun part about the golf club he's putting together, I used to own a company that had mobile technology. We used to go to different country clubs doing this very thing mobily. And I had fixed the golf clubs because that's the way it was back then. They were glued in.
You need a glove.
And that one
Yeah,
golf club
great.
can do 16 different things with the same shaft. And in my setup, it would take one club back 16 different golf clubs for me to be able to do what that one club does.
You want us to back up a little, John?
We don't know yet.
I don't know.
You guys are fine.
They told me it was tour. They told me it was tour quality. I was going to say, come on in here.
Wait a second.
All right, Michael.
The divot pattern right in front of you
Right here.
is straight. Just fire a few over it. Just hit it. All right, Doppler radar, so it's actually tracking the golf ball until it hits the ground. Here's some of the feedback.
High cut.
High cut, exactly. Club head speed, 92 mile an hour. He swings it right on plane, and he hits down on it 2.5 degrees. So immediately, as fitters, we kind of get an idea of what's going on. Once we know that, ball speed's 130, launched at 12 degrees, low spin. Why? Why would that be low spin? Because the face is
Closed.
closed. So we really need to get a good strike, no pressure. We need to get a good strike, so with the square face, we know what spin rates are actually happening.
Can I go?
Fire when you're ready. Beautiful. The gallery is going crazy right now. All right, I could stand here and also tell him how solid he hit it because we give something called the smash factor. That's club head speed versus ball speed. The best it can ever be is 148, 150. There's a 148. Launched it at 9.5 degrees, spin rate of a little over 2,100, and then we get carry distance and land angles. Land angles is how it comes out of the air. Irons, 45 to 50 degrees so they hold the greens. Drivers, 33, 37 degrees so we get some scoot down the fairways. And depending on your golf course, carry time versus roll time, because everybody plays different golf courses. All right, you want to hit another one?
Sure.
What was your launch angle?
9.5.
Pretty good. Back here. How about somebody who doesn't know what they're doing?
It works just as well. Truly, it really does. It works just as well. The only time a fit becomes difficult if we can never hit the center of the face. And there are times we have that student. Don't be afraid of that.
There you go.
Great example of what's going on right here. Where did the golf ball go? It leaked right. So when it leaks right, the club face is Open. So we want to find a driver that can control the spin rate with an open face as well, because it's always going to spin up into the air. So if that's the tendency, we need to figure out what driver face is going to help control some of that. Because we went from very low spin of 2100 to almost 3300 by a face. Okay?
What's your goal, like 3,000 or what's the...
The question is, what's the goal? Based on ball speed and club head speed, it's going to be somewhere between 2200 and 2900.
The other thing that happens, guys, is if you have a driver that doesn't fit right after 3 or 4 swings, you'll try to make those adjustments to make it go where you want. So that was the first one that he hit right. After seeing how many did he hit left, John? 3 or 4 in a row left, or a couple left?
Yep.
Great example of golf club fitting right there. Great example. So we went from
$2,000.
That's a deal. Now we launch it at 12 degrees at a spin rate of just under 2,600. We increase carry by almost 20 yards and total distance as well. What change did we make?
We went from a 9.5 stiff to a 10.5 regular in what we call one of our low spin shafts. So we went up in loft, but we strengthened the tip. You can talk about that a little bit. We went lower spin shaft, higher launch head, made it a little softer, dialed it in.
We went a little softer to help you square it up, but we stabilized the tip of the shaft so that at the bottom it can square up and feel stable to you as well, because our true regular flex is not going to feel any good to you.
John, we need to wrap it up. We need to go inside. One more there, Mike. One more?
Before you let him go, talk about the difference in regular stiff between companies.
Completely different ball flight, huh? Yeah, no doubt about it. So after about 100 swings and 2 hours with us, we get her dialed in for you. One last note, when you go to buy golf clubs, there's light flex or senior flex, there's regular flex, there's stiff flex, and there's X flex. What's that really mean? It really doesn't mean a whole lot today, because stiff from company A, B, and C does not mean they're the same. So be careful when you buy golf clubs. If you walk in and say, I'm a regular, that means nothing, okay? The window is so big in that. So be careful of that, because again, and nothing's wrong with it, but from company A, B, and C, our flex is a very big window. And again, just as Brad showed there, how the shaft kicks and how much it weighs can influence ball flight as well. Guys, on behalf of the Academy, Mark, Brad, Doc, everybody, thank you, okay?